Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Neil here, and thank you for stopping back by. Today we are talking about how to light a talking head interview style video. And today I have my man Normac behind the camera shooting BTS. I will drop his Instagram in the description section. And then we have Jordan here, that is a realtor that is local in the Greenville area. And she is the subject for today that we're going to talk about. So today's video is going to be all about that. And before we start, I'd like to thank Nanlite for sending the lights out that is going to be used during this video talking head. And it is the Nanlite 300Bii, which is this light right here. We're going to use this light over here, the 300Bii2, which is a bicolor light. We're going to use it for our key light to light Jordan up today. And then we also have the Forza 60B2, which is also a bicolor light from Nanlite. And we're going to use that as an accent slash hair light because we want to give her some hair light on the back here so we can kind of separate her from the background. Now, we don't have a lot of background to work with. I'm just in my studio space, but we work with what we have and we do what we can do. But in order to try to give some more separation, we're going to use this Nanlite 60B2 as the hair light, accent light, whatever you want to call it, to light the back of Jordan. And again, the 300Bii2 is going to be our key light. So let's get started. As you can see, we got house lights on. Maybe you can see we also have windows that we're dealing with, which is letting in a little bit of ambient light. So the picture right now is actually exposed, as you can see in this shot that I'm showing you here in this B-roll clip. The picture is decently exposed. Obviously it's not perfect, but what we're gonna do, first rule of thumb, always kill your house lights if you can. If you have enough adequate lighting, like we have here, always kill those house lights. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. And then obviously you're gonna see that exposure adjust and it's gonna change, and that's where these lights will come in to light Jordan up. So just a second. All right, so now you see that Jordan is not really well lit, even though it is telling me on my camera here with this shot that she is basically 2 stops overexposed, and that is because the camera is seeing the ambient light. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use our ND filter, which happens to be a Pro Mist filter from Freewell. Yeah, it's from Freewell. So I'm going to darken this image even more because I need to use light. So right now I'm evenly exposed on Jordan, so says the camera. So now here's where the key light will come into place. So let's go ahead and cut on the Nanlite 300Bii2. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that on, and you will see Jordan magically get a little bit brighter. So right now we're at a +7 on the Sony a7 IV. Sorry, meant to mention that the A cam that you're seeing this shot here is the Sony a7 IV, and then we are using the B cam is the Sony FX30 for the side shot that you will see. So currently right now we're exposed at 0.7 on Jordan, and I'm just shooting at the native ISO of 800 on the a7 IV and S-Log3, S-Gamut Cine 3. So that picture's working pretty good so far. Obviously, what you're seeing now with the BTS footage is her lit and exposed properly because the exposure is showing about +1.7 on this BTS footage, but we're actually going to lower that down to ISO 100 because we don't need that much now that we've turned that light on, so that should be good right there. All right, so now that we have Jordan lit, we're just going to dial up the key light a little bit, because I want to get her, since I'm shooting an S-Log3, I want to get to about 1.7 to 2.0 overexposed. So let me go back and check that. So right now she's about 1 stop exposed, which looks overexposed, excuse me. You always want to try to shoot 1 to 2 overexposed on S-Log3. So right now she's +1. Let's give her a little bit more light. So we'll just crank that up. The 300Bii is what I'm speaking of cranking up. Right now it's at 65%. and we're at 1.7, so I'm gonna leave it there. I think she's really well lit. Now, obviously there's not much to play with in the background. We're working again with what we have. This is a new studio space for me, so I've actually not been able to decorate it the way I want to, but that is coming. So YouTube studio tour coming soon. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and see what we can do with the hair light using the Nanlite 300Bii. Now that is way too bright on Jordan's head. So let's dial it in at about 25. And that's still a little too bright. So let's give it about 10%. And that's also going to increase sort of the shadow side, because obviously if we're lighting over here with the key light, we have her face being filled in with the key here, but we have a little bit of shadow on this side. So what this light is also going to do is give her a little bit fill on the shadow side, and then obviously the hair light. So let me take a look at that image and see what it looks like. And all the while you guys should be able to see it as well. So yeah, that looks good. We have a little bit of hair light and filling in the shadows a little bit. It's on 10%, and that's on the Nanlite 300Bii too. So I'm gonna crank it up to 15, and I think that's probably going to be it. Let me check that shot again. And yeah, we can see that light is on her hair and it's giving her a little bit of shadow fill on the left side of her, well, it would be the right side of her face if you're looking through the camera. So looking good, Jordan. I think we're ready to proceed. So I also wanted to go over with you guys, I know I just mentioned it, but I should have started the video with it. So we're using the Sony FX30. That is going to be the B shot that you see. So that's going to be the side shot of Jordan's face. And we're using that with the Tamron 28-75, shooting S-Log3 in Cine EI mode. And then we're also using as the A-cam, we are using the Sony A7 IV with the Sigma 50mm 1.4 ARC. Everything going into the Ninja V recorder, just because it's easier and I can shoot ProRes on here and get a better quality of a file. So also, as far as audio goes today, which you will hear, we're using the Synco D Mic 2. I've had this mic for about 2 years now. It's a great mic. I will obviously let you hear it because you will see a portion of this talking head video, but Deity, I've sent you messages through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I need you guys to help a brother out. I'm trying to push your stuff, but I'm rocking with a 2-year-old mic. Would love to have that S mic too. Be like Nanlite, send me some stuff, I'd appreciate it.
I love how everything's local. I think that's one of my biggest things. We're known for our local farmers market on Saturdays. Most of our restaurants, we don't really have any chain restaurants. If they do, it's coming from, maybe Charlotte or Atlanta, but it's nothing like an ale house or a Longhorn or anything like that. So I love everything being local. Our coffee shops are local. One thing I get a lot being here is everyone says that we're so nice. And I will say, coming from Charlotte to here, I will have to agree. I think people are more personal here. I don't know if it's just because people are not maybe in such a rush because we're not in such a big city.
Anyways, guys, this is essentially how I set up my interview style talking head videos. So hopefully this gives you some insight on how you can do that with the key light. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to use Nanlite or such, aperture lights. Use what you have, okay? So if you just have the sun, if you have ambient light coming through windows, use what you have. But Nanlite is a great manufacturer if you want to look into those lights. I am so grateful that they sent these to me. They just work well, they're built tough, they have excellent output. As you see, we went from a really dark, drab image to something that is well lit, looks good on the subject, and we just did that with 2 lights. That's all you need. You don't even necessarily need super powerful lights. You can actually use this Nanlite 300Bii, like I showed you in my previous video, as a key light. So I'll link that in the card here. This little light here is small, tiny, but really mighty. You can use that with a softbox like the Forza 90 to have it as a key light. So if you don't have the budget to essentially buy something like a 300Bii2 or a 500Bii2, get a couple of 60B2s. You can basically get that for less than what you can buy a 300B2 for, because you know, budgets are a thing and we all have to start with what we have or what we can afford. So look into that if you can't buy a big light and a small light. But special thanks again to Nanlite for sending this lights out to me. And they also sent me out the Para 120 softbox here. That is the key light modifier that is on the 300B2. And then they also sent out to me the Para 90, which you can't see because I'm just not using it for this light today, since we're just using it as an accent and a hair light. Also, to give the sweat, it's hot in here. Got a window unit, it's not on, so we need that to stay off for audio. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down twice. And until the next one, be kind, be safe, and take care of each other. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.